What up, no? It is another Tuesday. This is Knockouts and Three Counts, and man, is there going to be some bloodshed this weekend, man. It's going to be Circle Six's return to Harpo's here in Detroit. You got the UFC going down this weekend with past guests of the show, Miranda Maverick, going out there to get a dub. We got a lot of things to talk about, but before we get to Sunday, we've got the return of our guy Hoodfoot. So there's a lot of stuff to talk about since the last time he was on the show. But before we get to that, I got to tell you about our sponsors over at Potter's Tree Service. If you are in the need for tree removal, tree trimming, chipping service, storm damage cleanup, all that good stuff, Potter's Tree Service is the way to go. Check out some of their work as I finish telling you about them. The numbers, their links, all that stuff are in the description. If you're in the Michigan area and need to get a tree cut up or need something done, Asa Potter, Potter's Tree Service are the guys to get it done. So, like I said, check out those links. Make sure you check out what they got. You don't need to call Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Just call Asa and Potter's Tree Service and tell them Knockouts and Three Counts sent you. And with that said, enjoy the show. All right. All right, and before we get to this show, this one may start on a little bit of a somber note. I want to dedicate this show to my pops, Jeff Collison. He passed 4 years ago today. I appreciate you, man. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be doing this. So once again, this episode is dedicated to my pops. As you can see, we were at Michigan in this one. He was loving that natty. So in the meantime and in between time, hit that subscribe button and enjoy the show.
This is the Ring of Honor, a.k.a. Shane T, boy, the baddest champion you ever seen, boy.
This is Mr. Anderson.
This is good old JR Jim Rock, and you are listening.
You're listening to Knockouts and Three Counts.
Cover! We got a new world champion!
That might be one of the craziest knockouts I've ever seen in my life.
Knockouts and Three Counts is the podcast, baby! It's the real deal, baby!
Knockouts and Three Counts starts now.
Boom, 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 boom. There it goes. Now it's off of there. And this is another episode of Knockouts and Three Counts. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Rest in peace to my pops. But with that said, we've got the return of our guy Hoodfoot before he comes back here to Detroit and fucks Harpo's up this weekend. I'm looking forward to it. It sounds like a great time to me. Shout out to everybody who's already up in there in the comments. What up, though, Bree? I know you bought one of those front row tickets. You're welcome. With that said, make sure you check it out. Check out Cooking with Cody as well. I know he was checking some kind of chicken shit out today that was making me real hungry.
He's eating
tacos, bro. While you're there.
Let's go.
Man, I mean, this dude has got like a list of shit that he's been trying food wise. And me being a fat guy, it kind of makes me a skinny fat guy, but I still love to eat. So with that being said, shout out to Cody. Check out what he's eating. See, they already got people in the comments talking about they're ready for Circle 6. But without any further ado, man, we were talking about it before we hit the button. We appreciate the time. It's been a minute since the last time we seen you. The last time we saw you, we were busy practicing Tony Hawk, and Chris still probably owes some people some hot dogs from them droppings from when he came on the last time. We got the return of our guy Hoodfoot. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Last time we saw each other, I was about to go X Games mode, man, right?
Yeah, exactly. What a show that was.
A wild show, man. Look, it was a good time, man. It's always a good time when I'm in Michigan, so I love it.
Hell yeah, dude. That was a good time. Shout out to Chris and the homies over at RPW for that. You're still rocking that RPW title. Before we get into that, let's just start there, dude. I mean, like we said, the last time that we saw you was Ruthless Pro Wrestling when they had the big skate park show. I know you were taking on Zach Thomas that night. I saw people sliding down the bowl and people's arm meat hanging out and all kinds. It was a night to be had, my dude. So first of all, how are things in your neck of the woods? And you got to tell me, bro, how was fighting in a skate park?
First of all, everything on my side of the tracks, man, is going amazing, man. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's been it was last half of the year, it was a battle, personal shit aside, man. But like the start of this year, it's been growth. Nothing but fucking growth, man. So I love it. But partying in a skate park, it was different. It was different. I tell you that right now. But I don't know what it is about Detroit and arm meat hanging out, but it's got a track record right now.
It does right now. We don't want that though, but there's been some gnarly times, dude. You
Yeah,
actually
look,
caught Zach.
it's gnarly.
I still have a video of when Zach jumped off that balcony area, and y'all just caught him. And then it was like you and like 3 other guys just laid there flat. There's an image of Chris just looking down at like y'all. Like what? Did I do?
I think I got that still saved on my phone. That's his contact information picture.
He's just like, what have I done? What have I done?
Oh,
Decisions were made.
I can't wait for that. They got
that whole show was nuts, man. Shout out that they saw a clip of our interview from last week talking about Otis Kogar and what we saw at that skate park. Shout out to Elbow Deep, who was tearing shit up in between those matches.
Elbow Deep crushed it. I've seen a lot of bands playing between no rings, and man, I gotta say, Elbow Deep, they went hard.
Dude, progressively, like throughout the show, I wasn't aware of like what they were gonna be doing. So like rock band, fucking wrestling, all that good shit. Like this is great. And then like in between matches, dude was just like getting hit with fucking chairs and shit. The drummer, remember the drummer Kyle just sitting there with his book as everybody else was fighting around him and bleeding.
The drummer just didn't give a shit, but my man with the bass guitar was a sneaky dude. He just kept coming around the side and just clipping my man that was singing.
Hey, listen, not for nothing. That's wild. That takes real concentration. Look, to play while you get hit with a tube, my concentration get broken when I get hit with a tube. I don't know how you're able to still play and still take tube shots.
That's one of those shows where you just had to be there. You can't really describe it. It's just
that's it.
They're not gonna believe you. You know what I mean?
It's like one of those old concerts that you went to back in the day. It's like somebody's basement, and you're like, yo, you just had to be there. This shit was wild.
Yeah.
Look, man, all I'm going to say is I had no idea what to expect going into that, but I had a hell of a time. That's all I'm going to say. I had a hell of a time.
As somebody, I'm sure, who has half or a tenth of the wrestling show experience that you guys have, I mean, to go to something like that was just fucking. And of course, it was at a place that I grew up skating at. It's right near my hometown. So it was like, it couldn't have been any. Yeah, it couldn't have been any like. The spot was so known for me. I haven't been there since it's been renovated and shit like that. So to see like the first, I guess, memories that I get to see back of it is, to your point, a band playing through getting light tubed and just the matches taking place over skate ramps and just it was such a wild event, man. That was probably the wildest thing I've been involved in as a wrestling fan to this point.
We had blood at our feet, dude. I was stepping in it.
Yeah.
What at our feet? I just gotta keep going back to my man's who was the singer at that, because shit, he was bleeding probably worse than half the guys who were in the matches.
Yeah.
They just kept going.
Hey, like I said, kudos to him, man. He's like, yo, I'd have been like, hey, bro, look, we got to take time out. Right? Yeah. I'm trying to get this. Look, I'm trying to get this vocal run down real quick. Like, come on, man.
So we already got people asking in the comments, bro. They were waiting for you to bust out a 720, bro. What happened? Like we were waiting to see Hoodfoot drop in, bro. He was promising free hot dogs and everything.
Yo, listen, I did what I did. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a vert skater, man. I'm more of a street guy. You know what I'm saying? I grew up watching Chad Muska and Rodney.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
You know,
does anybody for that saying that now? It brings up a perfect question. So now, with that said, does anybody in this who's watching this feel free to chime in the comments? But does anybody here remember playing the first Tony Hawk Underground and when you had to play like through the whole thing and then you had to choose whether you wanted to be on like Chad Muska's team and all these other?
Shout out Chad Muska for giving me my first board.
Hell yeah. Shout out to Chad Muska, dude. I know he's still doing the damn thing, man. But we talked about that there's been a lot of things that were going down. You know, with that said, I feel like the only thing that would have made that show any better is if we just had like the Tony Hawk Pro Skater theme just play it, like the soundtrack just playing through the whole show. Yo. That would have been just awesome.
Look, I'm down. Next time they're there, that's what they need to do. I'll talk to Chris personally for it. Like, yo, we got a New Jack the Tony Hawk Pro Underground soundtrack.
Now that shit's stuck in my head. So here I am doing everything I can.
That's the sound of the finest, dude. Let's go.
back in them PlayStation days. See, the soundtracks were almost better than the game. I mean, they weren't almost. In a lot of cases, they were better than the game back then. But
Pro Skater 1 definitely had the best soundtrack.
Yeah, they knew what they were doing. That was such an important part to those games. The bands, I'm sure if they were smart, at least they were fighting to try to get their songs on those.
Oh yeah,
because it just became for a generation like myself. I was just after that. I was born in '92, so I didn't get to listen to a lot of that music. It wasn't in my era. So once it got presented to me, I knew all that shit. But it took that type of moment, and I'm sure a bunch of artists still to this day collect some royalty checks because they were on those games.
Like it's a reflection of your childhood, bro.
Yeah.
Listen, the Ernies are eating well off the fucking royalty checks from Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
For the record, I just checked because now that's what I'm going to be doing tomorrow. Is listening to these soundtracks probably at work. They are available on Apple Music and Spotify, all of them. So,
dude,
trust me, I know.
Feel free to go back, baby.
Dude. I need to get into that. But before we get into Circle 6 and everything that's going on, man, it was dope to kind of catch up a little bit before we hit the button. And I know there's a lot going on in the world of Hoodfoot, man. Some good and some not so good, man. I saw that you just had that match with the Killdozer, Matt Tremont. Okay. We saw him here with Flophouse when Schwartzy did his thing, and we got to sponsor that, and that was a damn cool show to go to. If you're in the Detroit area, make sure you check that out again this year. But with that being said, man, you had quite the run as the American Deathmatch champion over there in ICW and all that, and anyone who knows anything about deathmatch wrestling knows who Matt Tremont is. So with that said, dude, talk to me a little bit about your run with that belt, what it meant to you, and talk to me about that match with Matt Tremont.
Man, dude, like the run with that belt, first and foremost, it was the longest run that anyone's ever had with the title. But man, I was standing on the shoulders of giants, man. Long story short, I'm probably like the only African American world deathmatch champion, like across multiple different deathmatch companies. So something like that weighs heavy on me, and just to be able to do that for so long and with so many different defenses, like I felt like every defense was a little bit different. I believe I topped out at like 18 defenses, which is also the most for any champion of the title. Bro, I just had one focus, and that was presenting my brand, myself, presenting the brand of the company, and then also presenting the brand of Black deathmatch wrestlers, and hopefully influencing basically another generation. And like I said, the show that I was on with that, it was 4 Black deathmatch wrestlers on that show. It was 4 Black wrestlers on a deathmatch card, which is wild.
So talk to me a little bit about that too. I mean, that leads into something else I wanted to ask you about. I know with you being in the deathmatch scene, I mean, obviously, like we've talked about before, I mean, you just said it yourself. You were the first Black champ with the American Deathmatch title, and we are in Black History Month right now. With that being said, talk to me a little bit about what Black History Month means for you in the deathmatch scene, because obviously it means something to everybody just based on it being Black History Month. But for you to be doing what you're doing and blazing a path, like you said, in a genre where you don't always see, a lot of Black guys. And like you said, there was 4 people on that card that were all represented. So what does it mean to you to not only get to have that run, but be that first Black champ, like you said?
Like I said, man, it's like standing on the shoulders of giants, man. People that came before me, because let's be real, New Jack was a deathmatch wrestler before the term existed, right?
Yeah.
So like, I'm not just the first, but I'm the most prominent right now. And to be able to do what I did means the world to me, because now other people can look at it and go, oh shit, it is possible. It's kind of like seeing Black dudes in hockey or skateboarding or any type of alternative sport. It's like, yo, this just ain't for everybody else. We can do this shit too. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, it's the saying of, I can do it and I'm still Black. It's just not exclusive to one person.
Hell yeah. And I mean, dude, like you said, I mean, anyone who knows anything about deathmatch knows the name Hoodfoot. You've been blazing a trail here for. Hey, man, I mean, I looked at all the stuff on cagematch.net before we were getting ready for this. I mean, hot damn, between ICW, GCW, RPW, I mean, you still have the RPW Championship, which we're going to get into talking about your title defense that you got coming up with them as well outside of RPW. But I mean, dude, you're hitting all the spots. I mean, you know, a lot of people, especially in the deathmatch scene, it seems to me, it almost seems like you'll see people kind of get connected to like their one like home promotion. But you have been over. We've seen you at Flophouse. We've seen you at RPW. We've just saw you at GCW. We've seen you, you know, everywhere you want to look as far as deathmatch stuff goes. I mean, you are doing something for a, what does it mean to you now that it seems like the deathmatch scene is starting to open up more, or does it seem like it is? Because it seems like for a while, it just seemed like when we first started covering deathmatch stuff, you would see people kind of like, I'm part of this promotion, or I'm part of this promotion, and you'd see them in a couple places. But like I just said, you know, you have really spread your wings and gotten out a lot of different places.
So to be real with you, man, we're independent contractors. I'm going to take the job where it's at, you know. Now, don't get it confused where it's like don't get it confused where it's like I'll mistake loyalty for somewhere. Bro, I'll work where I want to, but also I know where my loyalty lies. In that sense, you know what I'm saying? I know who has my back, and certain people have how can I say this? Carte blanche on bookings as opposed to other places. But at the same time, it's not gonna stop my cash flow, man. I'm gonna try to get my brand out there as best as I possibly can. At the end of the day, that's what the focus is. You know, I'm gonna sit there and do best business, and also I'm gonna do due diligence when I'm also working with some of these other companies. You know what I'm saying? It's just not trying to hold yourself out for money. It's also trying to be a good business, trying to basically do good business and kind of focus on where you want to go and who has the most eyes, visibility, and honestly, social rep, man. Because like, there's some places that, let's be real, probably make a pretty penny working at, but like socially, I can't work there. You know, just off responsibility. Certain shit happen at their locker room, or their boss gets a podcast and wants to go off the fucking Richter scale about some stupid shit. I can't work with you.
Totally respect that, especially in a landscape what we've got in 2024, where it seems like, what up, though? Chris checking in from Boston. With that being said, I mean, that's something that we've seen a lot. You know, you see a lot of like the inner politics, whether that be whatever company you're talking about, whether it's GCW, you talk about RPW, everywhere. You'll see people somewhere, and then something just happens and stuff like that. So it's dope to hear that it's dope to hear that you've still got that loyalty too, because I feel like that's one of the things you always hear a lot of people talk about. Get that Prime ready. They need to sponsor us too. But yeah, man, I mean, you hear a lot of people talk about loyalty to promotions and things like that, but it's also good to hear, you know, the other side of it. Like, look, man, there's just some things I don't rock with. There's a reason why, you know, you don't work with some of them. Let's see what do we got. Last time I saw Hoodfoot at Harpo's was Wild Cologne poured a whole container of salt.
Yes.
Dude,
all the good shit happens at Harpo's, don't it?
That was about like what, 2 years ago, like January.
Yeah, it had to be about that. But talk to me about that. That had to sting like a son of a bitch. I know you were bleeding, and the salt in the open wound, you know, adds pouring salt on the wound literally.
Actually, didn't burn that bad in the beginning. Afterwards, on the drive home, that's when it sucked.
Once the adrenaline wears off,
that's when
the adrenaline starts
in.
to wear off and shit. Then you're like, oh fuck, what happened? What am I doing?
Like, yo, that's when it started to really start burning. I'm sitting in the car, like it's 2 hours in. I'm just like, oh man. I'm like, yo, you gotta pull over. I gotta wipe myself down. I gotta go get me some dude wipes.
Yo, dude wipes are that deal. I'm just saying they could sponsor us too. I would just go with that too. But
I'll take the sponsor. Look, I'll take a sponsorship for dude wipes.
All the sponsorship.
Fuck yeah, I'll take all the sponsorships, but as a guy with Crohn's dude wipes, hit me up. But with that said, another thing that really was stuck out to me when I was doing my research to get ready for this is we talked about, you having the American Deathmatch title. We talked about you being the RPW champion, but the crazy thing about this run that you just had, you were on this run while you were champion in both, in both scenarios. We talked about, I actually just talked about this with Gunther when I was in the Survivor Series press conference, his thoughts on the whole double champ thing. But old Hoodfoot over here is already out here and been doing it and having a hell of a run with it. So talk to me about being able to carry the mantle for both of those companies like that for quite a while and be defending both titles simultaneously.
It speaks volumes, man. It speaks volumes of like the trust that the owners have in you to represent their brand properly. It speaks volumes into like the fans who are paying money to come see you as a champion. So to be a double champ, it may be, some people may view it as double a burden. I view it as double opportunity to express myself, to get myself out there and show people exactly what the fuck I'm about.
I like that. Yeah,
if I think so.
I'm with it. Fuck yeah, you do it. You say whatever you want, man. There ain't no worries about that. But with that said, talking about that run with both the RPW title and what you had with ICW, I mean, with that being said, I read on my way out here that you're getting ready to you've got another defense of that title getting ready to come out. So yeah. I know you're facing Matt Locke. So tell me a little bit about that, and how do you feel about getting to defend that belt in new companies?
Man, it goes back to one, just being able to spread the brand and the name of like the company I work for, like RPW. I love taking belts and defending them elsewhere because that's a chance for them to see a little bit of what that company offers. And if they're seeing me and me being a representative of that company, I feel like I got the job. I have a job of being able to represent that company. And Matt Locke, fuck Matt Locke. Listen, I've known Matt for like 3 years now. I actually originally booked him for Crosses and Caskets out in LA for Circle 6.
We were there. And, ring the bell.
Yeah. And he wants to be a big dog and run. You know what I'm saying? He wants to get up off that porch. I'm gonna show him, look, the streets ain't for everybody, homie. You know what I'm saying? Look, if you want to be a big dog out here, you better learn how to bite.
Ain't that
he said it, man. Fuck around and find out.
You stepping in with a big dog, dude. That's for sure, man.
Well, speaking of that, I mean, that kind of brings us over to the Circle 6 side of things. Like we said, we were there in LA, WrestleMania weekend. Shout out to my guy Mega Ran out there in Morocco and shit, doing the damn thing right now. Like, love to see it. But with all that said, our guy Mega Ran was doing the MCing for that show. And you also had another one of Detroit's own, Malcolm Monroe III, The Process, you guys doing the damn thing out there. So before we get into what you got going on this Sunday here in Detroit, talk to me about Circle 6. What was it about Circle 6 that made you want to see what they were about? And now that you've been with them a little while, what are your thoughts on Circle 6 as a whole?
And I like them as a company. Their ideology is wanting to create something new, fresh, and give something different to the landscape of deathmatch wrestling. First and foremost, man, if you ever look at their presentation, from just their flyers to how they present their product online and like their live streams and stuff like that, man, they want to give it a fresh, more of a fresh, newer edge to deathmatch wrestling, because for a lot of deathmatch wrestling and wrestling in general, man, they kind of stuck in like early 2010s design aesthetic, man. And honestly, dude, let's go ahead and push this shit forward. Let's go ahead and freshen up the design. Let's go ahead and freshen up the appearance of professional wrestling so it doesn't look like we're so dated.
I love that because, we've talked about that a lot on this show, and, with us covering regular wrestling, combat sports, deathmatch wrestling, all that stuff, we've heard the full gamut of it. And that's the one thing that seems to come around. Like we just were chatting with Bobby Beverly, who will be in your main event this Sunday as well. And he was talking about that too. And just the overall growth of deathmatch wrestling, and that what'd you say? The sweater makes you look dated. Yeah, dude, that's awesome. But the thing with that is like deathmatch, I feel like has had a big resurgence. You don't see as much of it in GCW as you used to, but there's been so many other companies like ICW, like RPW, like all these other ones that we've mentioned, where you're seeing it pop up and not just be like, okay, we're going to do one show that's going to be deathmatch, but it's getting back to the point where you're seeing a little bit more of it on all of the shows, you know, and a lot more here in Michigan. I never thought that I would see the day that it became as prominent as it has in Michigan, but apparently some of the people in the comments got some questions off of Crosses and Caskets. Want to know one question I had for Hoodfoot is that the show during Mania, you faced MM3 and lost, and then we got a promo saying there'd be a rematch in Detroit. Did the scheduling just not work out?
Actually, yeah. The scheduling for that show just didn't work out the way we wanted it to. I got a project right now cooking up, so it may not be in Detroit, but expect to see like a rematch down the line between me and MM3. It's not done, but like in this world of wrestling, man, they say, look, card is subject to change, and sometimes that's the whole fucking card, unfortunately. But once we get the scheduling worked out, or on my end, with the project that I got going, just be on the lookout for it.
Hell yeah, make sure you let us know what's going on with that. Well, now that we've talked about that, talk to me a little bit about Malcolm Monroe, man. I've seen you guys fight in a few different places, not just Circle 6. I know y'all have a little bit of a past relationship and all that stuff, but talk to me about that match with MM3, and what are your thoughts on guys like him and Tommy getting ready to go over to the UK for ICW?
Honestly, there's no better representative for Midwest Deathmatch Wrestling than him and Tommy going out there. They're going to hold it down. I've known Malcolm, I want to say I started training 2017, 2018. So I've known Malcolm for about 6 years now, almost. And dude's been cool from day one. And long story short, he's known my trainers even longer because Randy and Schwartz are from Detroit. You know, they came up under his dad. So basically, it's just like extended family at this point.
Hell yeah, man. I couldn't agree more. I mean, the Monroe family's got themselves so ingrained with XICW between DBA, which I don't know how we managed to not have him on the show yet, but eventually we're going to have to do that at some point.
Hey, look, you got to at this point.
Just for the fact that we both are trying not to go insane at the post office alone, I feel like is going to make for good stories, being that we're both trying not to lose our shit at the post office every day. But you know, we'll have to make that one happen. I know he was out there at the Super Bowl, even though our Lions didn't make it. But with that, what do you say?
Look, I feel you, Bears fan. I seen it, but y'all did y'all thing this year, man. Y'all held it down.
First year in a long damn time, but
Look,
we can
man,
at least end the season with that feeling.
With you being a Bears fan and all, I think we can all agree on one thing. We hate the Packers, right? So,
they had one job and couldn't do that.
At least we got that. Okay. At least we got that.
But that's number one. Fuck the Pack.
Yes.
That's it.
It's always fuck the Packers over here, in my estimation. I mean, the Packers are like the number one enemy. I don't care them. I mean, the Bears don't even piss me off as much as the Packers do.
Look, two things I do when I wake up in the morning, I thank God and I say, fuck the Pack.
See, there it is in the comments. I knew there was a reason I like you. See, fuck Green Bay. It's coming in the comments.
Let's go, man.
Now, if you ever want me to come there and cover a Packers game, I'd do it.
Give me a fuck Green Bay in the chat.
you already got it.
There we go, right there.
Oh yeah, man. Well, with that being said, talk to me a little bit about this weekend. Here in Detroit, you're going to be facing a guy who, in these interviews that we've gotten to do, and for anybody that is new here and missed some of those, you know, we talked a little bit about this with Bobby Beverly. We talked about this with Dale Patricks, and this guy's name keeps coming up. It's going to be you versus Orin Veidt. I've not seen a ton of him. So before we get to your match this weekend, what are your thoughts on being matched up with a guy like Orin Veidt? And what are your thoughts on this guy? Because I've heard this guy's name a bunch of places, but I don't know that I've seen him in person yet.
Man, couple things, man. Orin, I've shared locker rooms with Orin, maybe
What up, though?
a good handful of times, and man, every time I'm in the locker room with him, he's good. He's good people. His matches are fucking phenomenal. They're dope as shit, and he went on a hell of a run these last 4 years. Funnily enough, like about 3 years ago, we were matched up, and it just never panned out. And so now it's like we're about to pay it off. You know what I'm saying? In his head, he says I'm ducking him. I don't know, man. There's been many space and opportunity. We've been in a locker room, and ain't nothing ever popped off. So who's ducking who? That's all I'm saying.
So this is going to be your guys' first matchup this weekend, then?
Yeah.
There you go. There's an answer to that one. The first time ever, Circle 6 bringing it to you, man. All I know is I'm ready for it. But, you know, we had some questions about this in the show earlier last week. I just want to know if anybody's going to try to use that disco ball. Like, dude, they got that whole dance floor. Mike said there's going to be one that kind of happens out in the crowd. I feel like there's going to be some fuckery in that one.
Yeah.
Hey, look, never say never. Never say never. There's also a stage to dive off of. So who knows?
I mean,
You mean the stage?
if Tommy was here, I would be putting all the money I got
there.
that he's the one jumping off the stage. But
Hey, look, Justice is booked too. So look,
I was going to say, but since he's on there, that works.
He's the
somebody
favorite
jumping
right
off that
now.
boy.
He's the favorite right now. So
Can we just like put this out into the air before we get to the show? Anybody who's going to be at this show, if there happens to be a scaffold, can you please just do me a favor and not stand right under it when there's 3 guys that are about to fall off of it and then wonder why you got hurt? I just can we just throw that out for somebody?
Look, there's a saying out here in Indiana, right? Look, if you see the action is coming your way, it more than likely is. Grab your shit and move.
yes,
Right? Like, don't be a dumbass. If you see motherfuckers coming that way, look, get your shit, which includes your kids. You know what I'm saying? Get them the fuck up and get the fuck out of Dodge. Right? You're not gonna be cool by taking the fucking taking a bump with us.
Yeah, your seat might be a safe place for that match. Get the fuck out of the way. You're right.
It is a little nice. Bring some safety glasses too, because
that wouldn't be a bad idea. I feel like there's going to be a lot of glass at that one too, so I definitely can.
Hey, look, it might. You never know, right?
If you sit in front row, you might need some. Just saying.
You know, Bree, I know you got a front row seat. I definitely would recommend some glasses. But with that being said, dude, talk to me a little bit about some of the other stuff that we got going on with Circle 6, man. Obviously, like we said, Tommy and Malcolm won't be on this one, but dude, we've got a lineup of bangers on here. Like we just had Dale Patrick's on to talk about his match, and that match is going to be a banger. Like we said, we just had Bobby Beverly on, who will be facing Dale Patrick's the night before, or a couple nights before they get here to Detroit. What other stuff is sticking out to you on this card for Circle 6, bro?
Oh man, honestly, so Dale's match is sticking out to me, man. And then also Justice's match, because honestly, first of all, Dale's been going on a tear lately. He's become what everybody else here, especially in Indiana and Indianapolis, knows who he is. Like he is that motherfucker, right? And like he's going on this fucking run. It's gonna be dope as shit. Justice, bro, I can't predict what the fuck Justice is gonna do. So
I don't think Justice knows what Justice is gonna do.
Hey, sometimes you just figure it out when you get there.
As long as it causes damage, I think it's all right for Matt Justice. So I'm gonna throw that out there, bro. I think there's definitely gonna be some carnage.
I've seen that man jump off a shed once. Look, I've seen that man jump off the shed in the hills of Los Angeles. So I can't put anything past
him. You can't. Well, really can't. Another thing that we were getting in that episode with Dale that everybody seemed to like, I mean, you've got quite the hit list at this point, but for Hoodfoot, what sticks out to you as like favorite death match memories that you've had? Or if for anybody who's maybe new to Hoodfoot, what matches would you recommend?
So a few of them. The first in-ring one I had with Josh Crane, that was with Paradigm Pro. That's honestly still top. My series with Otis at Circle 6. It started with the blunt force trauma match, went into the tag match with me and AJ versus him and his brother, and we ended in Indianapolis with me and him. And then let me see here, me and Cologne, our first time in Harpo's, and of course my series with Matt. Every match I've had with Matt so far has been fucking phenomenal. And late entry is the Jaden Newman match I had at the finals of Battle of the Tough Guys last year.
Sounds like quite the list. What I'm so curious.
I'm probably missing something. Actually, my series with Casanova. Me and Casanova's been going back and forth. There's a match that probably nobody sees. I don't even think it's on New Fear City yet. But it's me and him in New Orleans, me and him in ICW in Chattanooga, and the first match we've had at Unsanctioned. That was all, bro. They've all been fucking good ones. I don't have a bad match with Casanova.
I don't think Hoodfoot in general puts on too many bad matches, so I don't think you got to worry about that. But
I try not to, man. There'd be somebody out there that says they're bad. But
look, man, that's a hell of a comment coming from him because he's the newer guy to the wrestling side of things, and your name has popped out off rip. So
big fan.
I appreciate
on my
it,
side. I don't know if you remember or not, but last time I had mentioned it as well. I cover more of the MMA side, so to see what you're putting in out there every time I've seen you, man, you've shown up and shown out. So
man,
it's
look,
impressive.
I appreciate it, man. My motto is look, there ain't no fucking phones in the building. You got to go hard.
Yeah. To go back to what you were just saying though about the matches that I guess make that list. What at this level of experience in your career, holding multiple titles and stuff like that, is it what makes an event or a match make it list worthy to you in something like that? Is it the matches where you get the title? Is it the match where you get to face a guy that you've been looking forward to face for a long time? Is it the type of match where you just put on a hell of a performance between the both of you so you can you feel that it's the type of match? Or what makes the list for you nowadays? You know what I mean?
So it's kind of a little bit of all three, man. Title matches, of course, they're special. They bring their own weight. But also, man, it's matches where, like, at the end of it, I feel like we just gave everything we possibly could to these fans. You know, that's where I sit where I go, that match, that was a fucking good one, right? Or honestly, sometimes it's just special moments of like having like the Kobayashi matches I had, man, dude, fucking insane. The Pagano match I had in Chicago, man, like those matches are on my list simply because, bro, I didn't think I was going to make it past 25. You know what I'm saying? To let alone be in the ring with a AAA superstar, to be in the ring with a big Japan superstar, man. It's insane.
That work you've been putting in, though, man, is undeniable. I mean, for those of you who weren't at the circus, you know, this past year, I mean, hot damn it. This guy had the accident that happened at the GCW show and then shows up at the circus still in hospital scrubs in this motherfucker and is still trying to have a good time. If you got anything to say about Hoodfoot, I mean, one thing you can't say is that he ain't a tough SOB because I know if I was that might have been one of the most. I don't know that I would have gone to the circus as my first.
That might have been one of the most gangsterous things I've ever seen, dude. Like, listen, I don't remember how it happened, but I remember him walking up, and I don't remember if there was a match on at the time or if he was just walking up. But the whole crowd just kind of like waved and flocked to you. We're like, what the fuck's going on there? The Hoodfoot's over there in scrubs, dude. Arm all taped up.
So real shit, they gave me the scrub pins because they had to cut my shorts off me. So I had no backup. I had no backup clothes.
He said, we ain't trying to freeze the balls off out here. I already done lost enough blood.
Almost. And look, they shot me up with morphine and sent me on my way. So I was like, oh shit, all right, I guess.
What better thing to do than go to the deathmatch circus?
I know. I was just leaking at a death match. I know. I'm gonna go back to the death match.
I'm gonna go see the homies, dude.
Hey, look, that was the first place I was like, you know what? I can't go home. My ride at the circus.
Good point. Or shoes. He didn't have shoes either.
Or shoes. Actually, shout out.
Yo, like I said, that might
Yo,
have been
I
the
remember
most
that now that you
gangster-
say that.
that might be the most gangster deathmatch moment of the year right there, dude. Not even in
shout out to Randy for giving me her slides. It took me like a year and a half to get them back, but they back in the rightful place.
He's looking for the pig roast. Look at the comments.
Look, bro, my man's got to eat. You lose a
Yo.
lot of blood, man. You got to be getting hungry. I mean, come on. Let this man eat, all right?
Hey, one thing I'll say about the deathmatch scene that I've noticed is like, I mean, deathmatch, hardcore match, it's kind of been there for a long time. You go back to like Abdullah the Butcher, Bruiser Brody, you know, all New Jack, all those guys kind of laid the blueprint for it. We've accepted it more nowadays. And I feel like, especially like lately, it's such a like community now. Like you got your wrestling community, but you got your deathmatch community. You know what I mean? And like you even see guys like I was watching, what was I just watching? Circle 6, Highway to Hell, Kyle. And there was a moment in that match with Tommy, and the glass slipped off the chair. You hear the whole crowd pretty much tell them they're on the turnbuckle. You know what I mean? Like that's how much the crowd cares now for deathmatch and cares about the well-being. Pardon the pun, but like you're in there trying to kill each other, and the crowd is like careful for the wrestlers in these matches. So I feel like that we've come such a long way with accepting the deathmatch style of wrestling.
True, man. It's like so there's a bond and a unity between not just the wrestlers but also the fans, man. Because obviously they want to see blood, they want to see guts and all that good shit, man. But at the same time, these are people that they love and adore as well. So they don't want to see them on the wrong side of it, you know. So there's a kinship there, you know. And honestly, I respect that more than anything else, you know. There's not a level of disconnect between like, so say like you got the NFL, bro. If Aaron Rodgers gets smoked next game, I'm not gonna give a fuck. Right?
I mean, as a Lions fan, I'm with you.
But if I'm wrestling Tommy, right, and something happens to Tommy, those fans, even though they're my fans, will care about Tommy's well-being, which says a lot about them. So, man, look, I love them. We couldn't do it without them either. So, it's just been the fan base as well as the brotherhood inside the wrestlers drives deathmatch wrestling and makes it the most special form of professional wrestling in my eyes.
Can't argue it. I mean, dude, and the thing is, you hear a lot of people talk about when it comes to deathmatch wrestling as far as like, oh yeah, all they do is bleed and hit each other with weapons and all that stuff. But dude, I mean, I just mentioned with the match with you and MM3, like I already knew what was going into that, you know, coming at crosses and caskets, or like you just said with Tommy, I know that y'all are tight, or like we talked about with Randy and Schwartz, you know, they talked about, you know, them, you know, helping you through some of the wrestling business and stuff like that, and then turning around and you know, mixing it up with them. So I definitely can agree with that, with J Bone's point in the camaraderie and the vibe that there is in that deathmatch scene. I mean, with that being said, you, like we said, you made quite the impact in 2023. But before we went live, you were saying that you had a lot of things that you had planned for 2024. What's on Hoodfoot's hit list for 2024?
One, so unfortunately, the reason why I can't travel abroad right now is because of legal issues. Long story short, I'm getting that taken care of this year, and I'm gonna be looking to go ahead, move myself abroad. So look out for the UK, look out for Canada, look out for Japan. We'll knock those off my list, whether it be this year or next year or year after next. But this year is going to be the start of it. Also, this year, it's been a project that me and my buddy Hardway Heater's been working on for like the last 3-4 months. The Indianapolis scene, we're missing like a no ring type of vibe. We're missing some energy. And we both agreed that we need to find a way to put that back into the city. So May 24th, all right, it's called, give me a second here. It's a little nervous about it. It's very first endeavor of it, but it's called Indianapolis Death Crew, okay? It's going to be a no ring. It's going to be a no ring company running no ring wrestling in the city of Indianapolis, man. Look, deathmatch wrestling is important to me, but being from the Midwest means the fucking world to me. And the fact that there's so many of us who would go to all these other companies and we're not doing something here, right? And not building up our scene in the Midwest. You know, we have RPW and like we don't have much else after that. I want to help build up this scene in the Midwest for deathmatch wrestling. So that's what we're doing, man. And that first show is going to be on May 24th. All right. It's called Hell Needs More People. So be on the lookout for the full announcement and all the match cards and graphics. But it's going to be fucking dope. I can't wait.
Make sure you send those to us. We'll be happy to promote that. What'd you say you guys are calling the company on that one?
Indie Death Crew. IDC.
Okay.
Love it.
You got it.
Yeah.
Man, like I said, make sure you stay tuned to those social medias. If you guys are new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button, whether that's IG, YouTube, all those things. Make sure you do that because there's we just got confirmation today that an Emmy Award winning guest might be joining us again real soon. So make sure you hit that button. You probably watch all his interviews anyway, but we'll talk about that at the end of the day.
You guys got Seth MacFarlane? Holy shit.
No, that'd be dope.
Yeah.
I was thinking Chris Van Vliet, but that'll work.
Chris Van Vliet. All right, bet.
Hell yeah,
You guys
man.
got
We're definitely
Sarandon on here. Fuck
yeah, dude. That's what I'm talking about. We need
I'm
numbers
saying.
in this bitch.
Fuck you.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm talking about. We need the numbers out here. All right, we got some more questions. So I don't believe Circle 6 is going to be streaming live as it happens, but I know it's going to be coming out after that. So stay tuned, and we'll get some of the info from that from our guy Mike while we're at the show. But if you can make it out, make sure you come out this Sunday in Detroit. You know, talking about Hardway Heater, that's a guy who I've not really gotten to see a lot in person. He was on the skate park show for RPW, and as we mentioned, we already just had Dale Patrick's on. He'll be fighting Dale this Sunday here in Detroit, so that's another match that I'm going to have to see. Tell me a little bit about what are your thoughts on talk to me about Hardway Heater. I don't know as much about him, but I keep hearing his name come up. Like I said, the skate park was really the first time I really got to check him out at all. So what are your, for those who are maybe new to Hardway Heater, talk to me a little bit about him.
Man, Hardway's like me, man. He's just a tough son of a bitch, hard to kill. He actually had his neck broken about 2-3 years ago, and injury that most people would like after they would heal, they'd be done with wrestling. Hardway's like, nah, fuck that, I'm coming back. And so, man, he's my boy. I've known Hardway. We came in about the same time in wrestling, you know. So our circles have always been close. It's been my boy from day one, man. So expect a match with him and Dale to be hard hitting, crazy as shit, and just absolutely insane.
I couldn't agree more. J-Bone, what did you think of our first run with our first exposure to Hardway, dude? We were talking about that a little bit with Dale Patrick's, but dude, shit got gnarly at the skate park, huh?
It did, dude. And, hey, you know, and like you said, anytime we go anywhere, we're hearing his name pop up more so lately. Nobody said a bad thing about this dude. So I mean,
He's
good people. What I've heard, good people
brother,
outside
man.
the ring, good people outside the ring, a fucking maniac inside the ring, and we've seen it at the skate park, dude. So I'm looking forward to seeing more from him.
I don't know about y'all, but I love the fact that this is on a Sunday because I get to turn up and I don't have to worry about coming. I don't got to come right from work or anything. It's going to be a good time, you know?
Listen, Kyle, don't keep me out late with your shenanigans.
I don't want to hear shit about me keeping you out late because every time we go out, it seems like I'm the one who's got to keep your ass doing some shit we shouldn't. So don't be telling me. All right.
Guys, listen. Take it from me. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Right?
There we go.
That's the age-old line. Don't do anything I wouldn't do.
All right. Listen.
See, in the comments, see, and Harpo's is closer to home for me. See, people are getting ready to turn up this Sunday, dude.
I'm gonna push it to the limit for a Sunday. You know, it's our first Sunday without football, so it's gonna be
Oh man,
a little tough for me. Okay, so I might have to have a few
you have to go a little hard then.
Might have to have a few more than usual. I want you to feel bad. So if you see me, buy me a beer. Kyle will buy your beers.
Whoa! Why are we volunteering me to buy the beers? Huh, damn it! Like, wait a minute.
trying to get people in the house.
Big
I'm with
Pocket
J-Bone on
Kyle
this.
says,
Shit, Big Pocket Kyle is too busy trying to figure out how I'm going to pay to get my ass to WrestleMania right now.
Well, you know, we're all just going to be buying beers and passing around. Dude. It's going to be great. It's going to be great.
You seen
Get
that
some more,
Peyton
get
Manning
some more
commercial?
ad time.
See, now they're already telling me to buy them a beer. Fuck you.
Perfect. Why not? Perfect. This is good things. This is establishing camaraderie. You know, like, we're a community.
You talk about, since you want to be the one of all people to talk about building camaraderie, sir, you part of the we still owe Joel Bateman a motherfucking shoey for over a year ago.
Down.
So don't tell me nothing
I'm
about camaraderie.
It,
You are a lie.
Look,
We've gone over this. You were scared of the shoey.
I even told him I'd up the ante and drink tequila out of the shoe. So I'll
of course you did. Now that he's back back overseas.
I owe him that. So whenever
it sounds like you got the money up during WrestleMania weekend, man.
I've been trying to get him to come out to WrestleMania with me, but he ain't making the trek to Philly yet.
For WrestleMania weekend?
Oh, it's in Philly. Come on, dog. You know what I'm saying?
I tried to tell him, bro. I told him anybody who's gonna be at WrestleMania, though, make sure you come check out our table over at WrestleCon. We're gonna be out there with the homie Mega Ran. Who knows who maybe will get to sit down and chat with us at these tables. But yeah, dude, I'm looking forward to Philly. Speaking of Philly and speaking of wrestling, I know the last time that we had you on, you told us that you still get to keep up with a lot of stuff. So since I had just gotten back from Tampa, you got to tell me, we just got through the Royal Rumble. How is Hoodfoot feeling headed into WrestleMania?
So that first week after, it was a little rocky. After that big conference, not gonna lie to you, I'm a little hyped. It's been a minute since I've been kind of like, look, keeping kind of a closer eye on what's going on for this WrestleMania build, man. They got their plan, they know what they're doing now, and it feels like they got the story that they want to tell, and they got everybody kind of like with bated breath right now. Watch it. So I like it, man. I can't knock it this time.
Let me ask you this, though. So the big thing, and a lot of things people have been talking to us about in the comments when we've been talking about the Royal Rumble is asking whether or not we think that because of the whole "we want Cody" outcry, do you think that that's what might have kind of maybe shifted things to where we're looking like we're headed into WrestleMania?
So I'll be real with you. I don't know. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I kind of I'm enjoying the ride. Like, if it did shift it, it did, and hopefully it shifts it for the better. You know, like, it is what it is. Personally, I think arguing about wrestling online is kind of fucking lame. But
how many times have we talked about this? Huh, damn it!
It's so funny from an outsider. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I personally think arguing about it is not my speed. You know what I'm saying? But if what they did arguing online, shifted some things, hopefully it's for the better. Like I said, hopefully they don't fuck up this story. It's got me intrigued. I know that.
So if Hoodfoot had the potential, I want to know how would you book this? Do you think we need to see Cody finish it at WrestleMania? Do you think it might end up going further?
Bro, well, I'm going over WrestleMania. Big top. Main event. That's it. So I'm booking myself over. That's what I'm booking.
Dude, like I said, this whole thing is wild to me, dude. Like you said, to be honest, I think for me, and I think I speak for a lot of people at this point, for me, I'm just happy that we're headed into a WrestleMania season where you're legitimately like, yo, I genuinely want to see what the hell's happening. Yeah. I genuinely am excited to go to WrestleMania because I really don't know how this is going to play out. Like, you could either, I could see it being, The Rock versus Cody night 1, and then maybe Cody versus Roman night 2, or I could see Cody getting fucked somehow, and then he wins the belt later on.
So no pun intended, but I want to see how the story finishes.
Yeah,
I'm with it, dude, and I feel like the only thing that would have made any of this better to me, now in a perfect wrestling world, take all the red tape and you work for this company and you work for that company out of it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm the only one that had this thought, but now that we've got the Rock and Roman obviously together, or at least together for now,
yeah,
dude, my first thought was, holy shit. Wouldn't it be dope if Dustin Rhodes could somehow come to have his brothers back in this one? Because, man, all these family members that are getting brought in, that's, I feel like,
just buy out the contract. You can afford it. Go buy them.
That'd be dope. I would love to see that. You know what I'm saying? That's definitely a great night one main event or something like that. But since they can't do it, personally, I think they need to call up Hardcore Holly. Call Hardcore Holly up as his backup. You know what I'm saying? And pay off that Rose Hardcore Holly tag team we had back in the day.
God,
holy shit, he's taking it way back.
Tell me you wouldn't pop for a How You Like Me Now. You know
what up, Donald?
Oh, dude.
Donald,
what up, Donald? Donald, are you the one buying the beers this Sunday? Are you the one buying the beer?
Are we carpooling? Let me know, dude. Let me
Donald said he was down to carpool, so I mean, I guess maybe that means the beer's on Donald. Bree, it might not be me buying you a beer. Maybe we can get Donald.
Donald are going to show up a little sauce.
Shout out Donald for the beers.
We're going to be tequila on the way there. We're going to be red faced and sauced up when we walk in the door.
He said red faced and sauced up.
That's a good start. That's a good start.
We're coming for a good time, baby. It's Circle 6.
We ain't here for a long time. We're here for a good time. Let's go, bro.
Hey, one thing real quick I do want to say about that press conference, though, and Kyle and Corey, we talked about this months back when TKO and WWE kind of merged. That had UFC written all over it, dude. So that's one thing I think the WWE adapted from them. That was like intrigue, like perfect, like UFC press con. What's gonna happen? Somebody gets a little crazy, got to break them up, and now you got to watch the pay-per-view to find out what happens. That had UFC written all over it.
That goes back to that idea what I told you about, like they're freshening up the presentation of wrestling, man. Because how long? Because if it was just old school wrestling, man, like a year ago, 2 years ago, they would have did that in the ring on a Friday night SmackDown or some shit, right? Yep. You give them a little bit of pizzazz when you spice it up a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, look how many people they had there for a fucking press conference.
Exactly.
A press conference that you announced 2 days beforehand. They didn't. This wasn't planned for weeks. Like,
it's not even in the city that it's running in. That's how you know you got something good. But hey, you're like that's just my take on it.
Hey,
big deal.
I agree with said take, and I appreciate all of you guys who just jumped in the stream. If you guys are new here, make sure you hit that like button, that subscribe button. You can check out our past episodes with KG and Dale Patricks, and make sure you guys come out this Sunday to Harpo's. But with all that being said, I also know from us kicking it at the skate park and all those things, I know that Hoodfoot does get down with the other side of the show, with the combat sports side of things. So you got to tell me, have you been keeping up on the MMA or UFC or bare knuckle side of things? And what are you thinking about this weekend as we got Volk versus Taporia?
So I haven't kept up too much on UFC, simply based on, man, some of the cards just ain't been my taste yet.
Hey,
you ain't wrong, but the next three you got are bangers.
Say it out loud.
I'm really getting into just now starting to get into bare knuckle fighting. I saw a couple of clips of it on my timeline. I said, "Oh, let me see what they're talking about." So I don't know everybody just yet, and I don't know how the cards play out. But I'm about to start really kind of deep diving into it. You know what I'm saying?
It's a good one.
So I've been watching a few of them on my YouTube, and then man, boxing. I've been a big fan of boxing since I was shorty, man. Currently, man, Tank is probably one of my favorite boxers.
Okay, so you got to tell me, what do you think since they just announced Devin Haney versus Ryan Garcia now?
I mean, honestly with you, I think Ryan Garcia might have it.
He didn't look to be fazed by all that talking that Devin Haney was doing. He didn't seem to give a shit. And if there's one thing that Ryan proved in the fight with Tank, it's that as much as you want to talk about being a pretty boy and whatever you want to call, dude, he got in there and fucking fought with Tank, dude. Like a lot of guys run from Tank. I've watched a lot of guys like not really want to get in there and square up and say what you want, say what you will. That dude got in there and scrapped. And then for his next fight to be against somebody like Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia's fighting dogs.
That's what I was gonna say. My big thing is, man, for you to be like actively chasing the top fights that you can find, and to have doubters and stuff, because people like, especially with the whole thing going on with him and Golden Boy and everything, where it seems to be arguments and stuff every time they have a fight going. It's like there's doubters and stuff like that in his corner, and like he's got his own struggles going on, and here he is coming off a loss, still chasing the hardest possible opponents he can find. So there's got to be something said for that.
And like, if anything, man, like Garcia kind of reminds me of a Sugar Ray Leonard kind of. Maybe like everybody's had the reputation of, oh, he's a pretty boy, he's this, that, and that. Other, he likes to dance around the ring. But man, if you actually watch his fights, he gets in there and bangs with people, man. Like,
Facts.
Like he's a smart fighter. He moves his head a lot, but like he's not throwing no pop shots in and out. So Floyd Mayweather is the perfect example of a pop shot fighter. You know what I'm saying? He's not throwing shit to knock you out. He's throwing shit for points, right?
Yeah.
Like Garcia's still throwing bombs and making sure, like, yo, I could probably finish you, or I'm making sure you're feeling this. You know what I'm saying?
He's got that Mexican fighter vibe, dude. He's like,
exactly.
He's hitting you with everything from the ground up.
The quickness he hits people with too. That's the whole thing. I remember watching one of his fights,
like Sugar Ray Leonard,
and I'm like, man, what? Like, I don't know if the camera glitched out for just a frame or something, but how the hell was that whole ass left hook only one frame? Like, how does that go from here to there? Like, dude's already not what? Like, he's got that next level quickness. That's for sure.
Exactly. Now, my only wish is, man, I wish heavyweight boxing would get back to the status that it used to be in. That's where I think boxing really needs to. They've been taking the steps up. They've been having a couple of steps back. Man, they lost a bunch of TV deals. HBO boxing's done, but man,
Showtime boxing is done too.
Showtime's boxing's done, but man, if they get a good heavyweight scene again, I think boxing will be back up top.
What do you think about Francis getting that knockdown on Fury though? Bro. Like, a lot of people think he won, and now off of that, his next fight. Now, I'll just say this briefly, but man, PFL's got to be like holding their breath at this point, because they paid this dude a shit ton of money, and he still hasn't gotten inside the cage, and now this will be his second fight that's not with PFL since they got him there. And I mean, he's going to be fighting Anthony Joshua, but bro, after what I saw against Fury, I think Ngannou could knock his ass out.
So here's the thing. Francis is already a great stand-up fighter, right? And then him also training with Tyson on just his stand-up game and his footwork. Bro, if he commits fully to boxing, bro, he'd probably be the most unstoppable boxer you've seen in a while. Yeah. He would remind me of a Lennox Lewis. Like a hybrid between Tyson and Lennox Lewis.
I could see that.
Yeah. It truly amazed me what that performance he was able to put on in the Fury fight. And I've watched basically his whole rise throughout the UFC, and to see
the thing. Fury was banging with cats, like, nothing against Deontay Wilder, man, but like he's got the reach but no power behind it, man. You know what I'm saying? You trying to box with Francis Ngannou, man. That dude's, bro, he knows how to sit down on a hook, simply put. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? How you gonna beat a dude that is all footwork? All footwork and all power.
I mean, look, all I'm going to say is I met the guy before he fought Overeem here in Detroit years back, and that guy's fist is bigger than my fucking head, and I got a big-ass dome piece. So I'm just saying, I don't want to be getting hit with those lunch pails that this guy calls hands, all right?
The man's a freak of nature, man. When he first started MMA fighting, like, what was it? Goddamn, like maybe 2016?
Yeah.
Like, I remember seeing some of his fights in the UFC around that time. I was like, this dude wild. This person should not exist. This is a creative fighter.
Yeah.
So Corey, you would know this better than I do, but is it true that Ngannou started in street beefs?
I do not believe so.
I don't think that part's right, Donald. I love street beefs. Matter of fact, I've talked to Scarface from Street Beefs about coming on here. I don't know if I know about that one.
If there was clips of some specimen like Francis Ngannou out there,
that shit would have hit
people on street beefs. I mean, we're talking
He's calling our bluff, dude. I'm gonna have to like look at this
look
after the show.
You don't look like a street beef fighter, bro. I'll be real with you.
I mean,
maybe in the Predator days when he had his dreads and I don't know, but either way, to see where he went, started his
he fought a big fat white guy. That helps.
That
helps.
like
go look for the big fat white guy. Donald, post the link in the comments. Damn it, you're bringing it up. Post the link in the comments. I need to like see this for my own visual eye. But with that being said, Donald brings up another good one. You talked about that you've been getting into the bare knuckle. Austin Trout is a bad motherfucker, man. I knew him from his boxing days, and I knew when he came into bare knuckle that it was going to be a problem. And man, I did not. I mean, I knew that Luis Palomino was going to have a tough fight, but I didn't think he was going to have that much of a tough time against a guy who's still that new to bare knuckle. Like, you talk about getting hit and not getting hit, dude. He was tagging up Luis Palomino, and it wasn't really a whole lot he could do about it.
To see the undefeated fighter get slain in that way where it was just so one-sided, and to your point, he was just unable to land shots and was constantly just throwing at air. Yeah, dude, that was very surprising.
So yeah, see now this is where I gotta go do my homework. I gotta go pull that fight up now.
Yeah, I would highly recommend it, dude, because I don't think there's anybody.
Right?
Yeah, it was on the most recent card they just had.
Say less. I'm gonna see if I can find it.
Donald has been trying to put us on this redneck brawls thing, dude, and saying that we need to like cover this on the show.
I've caught a few things, dude. It's a fucking spectacle. Let me just put it.
It's called redneck brawls, first of all. So I mean that first of all should tell you a little something. But I mean, hey.
Bro, I grew up on Kimbo Slice videos, bro.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
I grew up on Kimbo Slice videos. I remember watching the dog fight. See, Mike commented too. He's not wrong, redneck.
Wild, bro. Wow.
Shout out to Mike from Circle 6. Make sure you go get you a ticket for this weekend, man. Son of a bitch, dude. Hell yeah, man. Well, I guess as good a way as any to finish this one. We've already gotten they get paid $1,000 to win. Hot damn it. You better be paying me something. But with that said, we talked about some of the things that you wanted to knock off your list in 2024, and Japan was one of those. Japan is obviously another thing that came up in our conversations with both Bobby Beverly and Dale Patrick. So with that being said, and you talking about some of who your influences are, who would some of the dream matches that you could get in Japan when you go over there be?
Man, obviously Takeda. He's up there, man. He came over for GCW as well. His name's Torishima. They got the big beefy boy over there. I've just seen. I'm not familiar with his name yet, but he's on the list.
Ooh, I like that match. Hoodfoot versus Jun Kasai. I like that.
Jun Kasai, obviously, but man. This is probably the humbleness talking in me. I don't even know if I'm at the level with Jun Kasai yet. But man, I would love to test it.
I don't know, man.
All I'm saying is if you're getting in the ring with Jun Kasai, you better be ready to bleed, dog. That's all.
Everybody knows when Hoodfoot's coming to town, so
try to be, man. Up there. But man, I would just like to spend the time over there, learn, work out. Obviously, man, if I could get other shows outside of deathmatch wrestling as well, I would love it as well, man. I just want to engross myself inside their wrestling culture because at the end of the day, it's a lot of respect and a lot of hard work that goes into what they do over there. You know what I'm saying? Those guys don't take what we do lightly, and so it would just be a pleasure to spend that time in that system.
That's the thing you hear, whether you're talking about regular wrestling, deathmatch wrestling, like that's definitely somewhere I've got on my list that I want to check out at some point, whether that's just to see some wrestling, some fighting, all that stuff. I'd be down to see it all in Japan. So definitely Japan is a place that I want to hit. Well, dude, this is what happens when you get to shooting the shit with the homies. I mean, holy hell, we've already ran through an hour worth of time and don't even seem like it. So with that being said, I know you got to get ready for what you've got coming this weekend. So you told us you had things that you wanted to get out there. We've talked a little bit about that with you and Hardway Heater. I'll leave the floor to you, my man. If you got anything else that's for anyone who's maybe new to Hoodfoot, new to Circle 6, or stuff that you want out there with that, what do you got for the people, my man?
All right. So first and foremost, this weekend, you come see me. If you're down in Houston, down in the Texas area, I know it's big, but it kind of make the drive for us. Over at Wrestle Rave, you can check them out at Wrestle Rave on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. In Detroit, you know we about to get busy. Come on. Check out Circle 6. You know what I'm saying? We're going to be out there. We're going to do it fucking crazy on Sunday. After that, come check me out here in Chicago for RPW. I'll be defending the title again. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to keep it going, keep it rocking. You can follow me at Hoodfoot 418. That's on Twitter and Instagram. You follow me on Facebook at Hoodfoot Roll Atlas. And then, man, from there, just love, support, and keep it going. Rock that shit out, baby.
Oh, yeah.
You heard it. Hoodfoot is knockouts and 3 counts approved. If you're coming from the Detroit area, I promise you, you will be missing out if you don't come check out this show. Well, with that said, ladies and gents, I feel like we have covered the gamut as we get to Circle 6. Make sure you check us out this Thursday. You know, we talk about the MMA side of the things. We've got our homie Drop Zone coming through, going to help us figure out how to make some money on UFC 298 right quick. I need this guy to give me all the bets, all the parlays, because, bro, I should have won some money on that Super Bowl on Sunday, but Travis Kelce was too busy worrying about shaking it off to go get a touchdown. The rest of my damn parlay hit, except he didn't get a touchdown. So, yeah, he was shaking it off too hard because I didn't win any money. But I did pick the right winner. But I got to tell you, any of you guys who were watching the Super Bowl and didn't watch the SpongeBob version, you were missing out. But you got to make sure you hit that. You got to make sure you hit that subscribe button so you're not missing out this Thursday. We'll get you ready for UFC 298. Make sure you guys are. Yeah, I'm over football too right now. Damn it, Donald. But in the meantime, make sure you guys hit that button, dog, and check us out. Make sure you get your tickets. Make sure you're at Circle 6. Make sure you're at Harpo's. And don't stand under the scaffold. And the next time and in the in-between time, this is Knockouts and 3 Counts. He is Hoodfoot. And one more time for the one time, shout out to my dad. Rest in peace. Until the next time and in-between time, make sure you hit that button. Peace.